Welcome to Astronomy Daily, the podcast that brings you the universe one story at a time. I'm Avery.
And I'm Anna. Today, we'll be covering some unfortunate news for South Korea's burgeoning space industry, a look back billions of years to when Earth had a 19-hour day, a very busy launch schedule to close out 2025, and some serious safety concerns over Boeing's Starliner. And we'll cap things off with a major leadership shakeup at United Launch Alliance.
A lot to get through. Let's start with that launch anomaly in Brazil. What happened with the Hanbit Nano rocket?
It's a tough break for the South Korean company Innospace. Their first commercial orbital rocket, the Hanbit Nano, unfortunately crashed just 30 seconds after liftoff from the Alcantara Space Center in Brazil.
Only 30 seconds? Wow. Do we know the cause?
The company cited a vehicle abnormality, but they haven't released specific details yet. The important thing is that no one was hurt and there was no damage to the launch facility.
That's certainly the silver lining. This was a significant launch for them, wasn't it? It had been delayed a few times already.
Exactly. It was carrying 5 satellites, so this was a major milestone attempt. A successful first commercial launch would have been a huge step for South Korea's private space sector. Setbacks are part of the process, but this one definitely stings for Innospace.
Right. Failure is always an option in rocketry, especially on a debut flight. We'll be watching to see how they bounce back.
Absolutely. And it highlights the immense challenge for smaller private companies trying to break into the orbital launch market. It's not just about building a rocket. It's about securing funding, navigating international regulations, and building a track record. The barrier to entry is still incredibly high.
That's a great point. While companies like SpaceX make it look almost routine now, each successful launch is built on a mountain of data from both successes and failures. Hopefully, Innospace can analyze what went wrong and come back stronger. A competitive launch market is good for everyone.
Definitely. Now let's switch gears and go way, way back in time. Billions of years, in fact. Avery, did you know there was a period when Earth's day was stuck at just 19 hours long?
Stuck? I know the day has been getting gradually longer as the moon moves away from us, but I've never heard of it just stopping.
That's what's so fascinating. New research indicates that for about 1 billion years, from roughly 2 billion years to 1 billion years ago, the day length just flatlined at 19 hours.
1 billion years is not a short time. What could cause our planet's rotation to just pause its slowdown like that?
It's a really cool celestial balancing act. We know the moon's gravity creates ocean tides that act like a brake on Earth's rotation, slowing it down.
Right, the lunar tides.
But the sun also creates tides, not just in the ocean, but in the atmosphere. The sun heats the atmosphere, causing it to bulge. This atmospheric tide, influenced by Earth's rotation, actually pulls on the planet, trying to speed it up.
So you have the moon's gravity slowing us down and the sun's atmospheric heat speeding us up.
Precisely. And during this specific billion-year period, the theory is that the two forces reached a perfect equilibrium. The atmospheric day was in resonance with the rotational day. The slowing effect from the lunar ocean tides was perfectly balanced by the speeding effect of the solar atmospheric tides.
A tidal resonance. That's incredible. So the Earth was in a state of cosmic tug-of-war, and for 1 billion years, it was a perfect draw.
Exactly. Eventually, other factors broke the resonance, and the moon's influence won out again, continuing the slow lengthening of our day to the 24 hours we have now. It makes you think about all the delicate balances that have shaped our planet's history.
Absolutely. Imagine what life might have been like with 5 extra hours of darkness each day.
That's the big question researchers are exploring now. A consistent 19-hour day-night cycle could have provided a stable environment for early photosynthetic organisms like cyanobacteria to thrive. Some theories suggest this long period of stability might have been a crucial factor in the Great Oxidation Event, where oxygen levels in the atmosphere began to rise, paving the way for more complex life.
Well, coming back to the present, things aren't anything but slow. The last full week of 2025 is shaping up to be incredibly busy for space launches.
It seems like everyone is trying to get their last missions of the year off the ground. What's on the manifest?
Well, we already discussed Innospace's attempt. In China, CASC is expected to debut its brand new reusable Changzheng 12A rocket. That's a huge development for their reusable launch vehicle program.
A direct competitor to SpaceX's Falcon 9.
Indeed. Then, over in India, ISRO's launching a Bluebird Block 2 satellite. Russia has not one, but two Soyuz missions planned from different cosmodromes.
A busy week for Roscosmos.
And of course, you can't have a busy launch week without SpaceX. They're scheduled for their final Falcon 9 mission of the year, launching the CSG-3 satellite for the Italian Space Agency. It's a real flurry of activity to end the year.
It really shows how global the space industry has become. Launches from China, India, Russia, and the US, all within days of each other. It's an exciting time to be following spaceflight.
That's for sure.
It's worth noting the diversity of these missions, too. The Chinese launch is a technology demonstrator for reusability. The Indian mission is for Earth observation. The Russian launches are likely for government and commercial payloads. And the SpaceX mission is for an Italian radar reconnaissance satellite. It's a snapshot of the entire space ecosystem in action.
And the logistical coordination is mind-boggling. You have range safety, air and sea traffic control, satellite tracking, and telemetry all happening concurrently across the globe. A fittingly chaotic end to a very busy year in space.
Speaking of U.S. spaceflight, let's turn to our next story on today's rundown, which is a bit more sobering. It's about Boeing's Starliner and the fallout from its first crewed test flight.
Yeah, that mission was eventful, to say the least. What's the latest?
Well, NASA's Aerospace Safety Advisory Panel has come out with a pretty strong statement. They've said that NASA should have taken the problems with Starliner far more seriously as they were happening.
Let's recap what those problems were. There were multiple helium leaks and failures with the maneuvering thrusters, right?
That's right. 5 separate thruster failures during docking and multiple helium leaks that were discovered both before and during the mission. The panel's main point of contention is that NASA never officially declared an in-flight mishap or a high-visibility close call.
And not making that declaration has consequences.
It does. According to the panel, this failure to officially recognize the severity of the issues led to an extended period of uncertainty. It put a lot of stress on the workforce at NASA and Boeing, who were trying to troubleshoot these serious problems without the formal structure and resources that come with a mishap declaration.
So they were essentially trying to manage a crisis without being allowed to call it a crisis. That sounds incredibly difficult.
Extremely. And the end result speaks for itself. The 2 astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, ended up staying on the International Space Station for 9 months, while engineers tried to figure out if Starliner was safe to bring them home.
And in the end, it wasn't. They came home on a SpaceX Dragon capsule.
That's the crucial point. The Starliner capsule had to return to Earth empty. Having your crew return on a competitor's spacecraft because your own was deemed unsafe is a massive blow to the program's credibility. The safety panel is basically saying that if NASA had been more forthright about the problems from the start, a lot of this prolonged uncertainty and stress could have been handled better.
It's a tough lesson in transparency and risk management. You never want to see a situation where you have to rely on your backup transportation system for a crewed mission. It really underscores the value of having redundant, reliable systems like SpaceX's Dragon.
It absolutely does. There's a lot for both NASA and Boeing to learn from this incident before they even consider putting another crew on Starliner.
Absolutely. And the post-flight investigation is digging into the root causes. The helium leaks, for instance, seem to be related to seals that become brittle at extreme temperatures. But the thruster issue is more complex. It's a propulsion system that has seen numerous issues throughout its development, and the failures during this critical mission pointed to a potential systemic design flaw in the reaction control system.
A systemic flaw is the last thing you want to hear about on a crewed vehicle. So what's the path forward for Boeing? Is the Starliner program salvageable at this point?
It's a tough road ahead. They will likely need a complete redesign and recertification of the propulsion system, which could take years and billions more dollars. NASA is committed to having 2 independent crew transportation systems, so they won't give up on Boeing easily. But the pressure is immense, and confidence, both within NASA and publicly, has been severely shaken. They have to prove, beyond any doubt, that Starliner is safe before anyone else straps in for a ride.
And for our final story today, we've got some big news from one of the titans of the launch industry. Tory Bruno, the longtime president and CEO of United Launch Alliance, has resigned.
That is big news. Bruno has been at the helm of ULA for nearly 12 years. He really guided the company, a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin, through one of its most challenging periods, facing intense competition from newcomers like SpaceX.
Absolutely. His legacy will undoubtedly be tied to the development of the new Vulcan Centaur rocket. That was a massive undertaking, designed not only to replace the legacy Atlas V and Delta IV rockets, but also to end ULA's reliance on the Russian RD-180 engines.
And he was such a public-facing CEO, wasn't he? He was famous for his engaging presence on social media, always willing to answer technical questions from space fans. He really modernized ULA's public image. It truly feels like the end of an era for the company. Do we know who's taking over?
For now, John Elbon has been appointed as the interim CEO while they search for a permanent replacement. It will certainly be interesting to see the direction ULA takes in this new chapter.
And that's all the time we have for today. From rocket failures and celestial mechanics to a packed launch schedule and critical safety reviews, it's been another busy day in the world of astronomy and spaceflight.
Thanks for tuning in to Astronomy Daily. We'll be back tomorrow with more news from across the cosmos. Until then, I'm Anna.
And I'm Avery. Keep looking up.